All right, guys, welcome back to the shop. I have partnered with Noah Olson of Swamp Outlaws. He's got a whole business of lifting up three-wheelers and four-wheelers, but mainly three-wheelers. Go to his website, www.swampoutlaws.com. He's got everything. He's got complete kits, lift kits, wheels, tires included, wheel spacers, accessories. We're gonna use a lot of his products on this video. I want to thank him for helping us put this together. I have built many of these big reds over the years, and after a while you just kind of get tired of doing the same thing. I have never lifted one, so this is going to be new for me. I understand the concept. It's pretty straightforward. You can certainly do this on your own. It's not difficult, but this machine needs a lot more work, and I don't want to just put the lift on and then have to work around it the rest of it. So this is going to be a multi-video project. So let's get started. So let's go over kind of what we have here. What we've got are some 27-inch tall tires. That's what we're going to be putting on here. I know a lot of guys, some of the purists, are going, oh, you're going to ruin it. It's one size up, guys. It's really not that big. It's not that big. It will require you to find wheels. They're being delivered today. I'll show them to you hopefully in this video. I found a very inexpensive way to get these to mount up on your machine. So stay tuned for that. 27-inch tall tires. Let me tell you a little secret about 27-inch tall tires. Can-Am's, Yamahas, and Polaris side-by-sides come stock with a 27-inch tire. What do all three of those machines have in common? They'll probably be broken relatively soon as they put the bigger tires on it. They take the stocks off. You can swoop in and pick them up cheap. There's three here. Why is there only three here? Well, they blew one, and so they sold them at a deep discount because there was only three, not knowing their perfect number for three-wheeler guys. I paid $140 for all three of these tires. They're almost brand new. They are takeoffs. They were run for a very little bit of time on a Polaris side-by-side. They are 12-inch diameter, or 12-inch hoops, you might want to say. That's what we're going to need the wheels for. We cannot use our factory wheels. So when you step up to a 27 or a 29 or bigger, you're going to be forced to use a 12-inch or a 14-inch wheel. And so I found some solid blanks really cheap. So I'll show them to you at the end of the video. So that's where you find your tires. Get your tires used on Marketplace. Find somebody that's lifted their side-by-side. They've got the stocks, probably brand new. You don't need the wheels, but you need the tires. Get 4, sell 1, keep 3. That's another great way to do it. This person only had 3, so we bought 3. $140. Can't beat it. Noah sent me out his 2-inch lift kit for the Big Red, the 250 ES Big Red. As you see here, it's a spacer in the front. It's an extension or a bracket that retains and gives us a receiver on the back so we can retain our hitch. That's all there is to a 2-inch lift. It's not a huge lift, but it is a noticeable lift. I think you're going to like it when we're done with it. He's went ahead and sent me some extras, this stuff we didn't even talk about. This is his fabricated winch plate that goes on his rack. As you see, our front rack was pretty hammered on this one. We might could save it, but for this build, we're not. We're just going to pull it off and replace it. One of the biggest eyesores about this particular machine is that messed up front rack. Noah has us hooked up here with his fabricated front rack and winch plate. As you see, that's how that works up. You put your roller fair lead in the front, winch in the back. You are ready to go. He's also sent us a guard for the headlight. These are foot peg extensions, if you will. And they go on like so, and they're going to exaggerate the foot peg and give us more area or a platform to stand on. Honda grips. Always put Honda grips on whatever you're working on. You can get these. I think these were $14 for the pair. You can pick them up really cheap nowadays. So no point in buying anything that's not Honda on it. This again is Noah's fabricated aluminum skid plate. It is very, very well built. Definitely stronger than the factory one for sure. We're going to be installing that before we're done. We've got cables and fork boots from our good friend Curtie over at 223 Cycles. You can pick up brake cables and fork boots and other accessories from his site. Be sure and check out Curtie over there. We've got a really bad seat we're going to have to address, and you're just not going to put a cover on this plastic and call it a day. That's not going to work. So doing a little experiment here. This is a firm foam. I picked it up on Amazon. There'll be a link in the bottom if you want it. And we're going to cut this and shape it to make it fit. Something I really haven't had to do in the past, but we do on this machine. This is our replacement seat cover. It is going to have stitching and seams on it. That's just the way they are. It's not going to be like a factory cover, but it's going to be nice. You've seen me install these before, but we've got to put a seat cover on this machine. Of course, there's some mechanical that has to be done. We need an air filter. We're going to put clutch disc in this machine, clutch springs. These are the adjusters for the brake cables if we need them. We may not need these. I just had them here in the shop. I always use Honda Bond. I like Honda Bond. I think it's great. It sets up really quickly. It's gray in color, and so it's good going up against a gray engine to have that. You don't want that orange RVT or black oozing out everywhere. Get the gray and then trim it with a knife. It goes a long way. If you need to use it, we do have a one-way bearing we're going to be installing in here. It's not on the table, it's over there. Scotch brake pads, just things that you're going to need. This whole table is everything we're going to need on this machine. We're going to change the oil, we're going to treat the tank, we're going to use spray foam for our foam for the seat, our oil filter. We're going to seal the tank because the factory tank on this machine is pretty rough. All right, that pretty much takes care of the disassembly. It's not that difficult. You know, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 17 millimeter, inch and a quarter. But you know, it's basic hand tools. You can get through this with a crescent wrench if you had to. Just be careful. Use the right tools if you can. If you got them, great. This is as far as I think I want to tear this down. We are going to scuff these triple trees. I can't put this many nice parts on these triple trees. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to the other parts. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to wash these up. We're going to scuff them down, and we're going to paint them probably on the machine. If you know anything about those ball bearings in the forks, they're individual, and as soon as they start getting loose, they hit the floor. Sunrise Red is as close as you're probably going to get to the original Honda color. Remember, this is dirty and faded. It's as close as you're going to get to the original fenders and the original paint that Honda used back in the day. We'll be running everything that we take off through our ultrasonic cleaner. I'm a big fan of these. You can just kind of set it and forget it kind of thing, a little Ronco going on here. If you're old enough to know who Ronco is, that guy could cook a turkey with a light bulb. But anyways, we'll put it in there. We'll let everything get through there. We'll paint our hardware up a really close cloud silver. What hardware was gray? Any hardware that was black, of course, will be black. These bars do not look that great. I really didn't want to tear this entire machine down to the ground, but we may have to tear it down a little further than I had hoped. We've got some rust pitting in here. We do have a leaky fork seal, so we will be changing out the fork seals and get these cleaned up. I won't paint these, I will just clean them. We've got new fork boots to go on, but in the meantime, while I get changing gears here, just to kind of give you a little look at how this goes together, how easy this kit really is. You saw the forks come out of our triple tree here. This is the extension. It goes back up into the fork exactly the same way the factory fork was, and then it comes with the hardware here, and that's the same design. It pinches this collar around the factory fork, and that's where you're going to get your 2 inches of lift in the front. Real simple. It doesn't really change the geometry of anything. It just extends the fork, or actually extends the triple tree. The fork stays the same. I can't put brand new lift kit on a machine that just looks, not up to par. And so for that reason, this project's going to take a little longer. That's why we're going to break it up into different videos. And I just kind of want to focus today on getting the front as close as we can to being finished. The wheels are supposed to be here delivered today, so hopefully that's a one-time on and off kind of thing. We've got brake shoes to put on it. If you remember this video or this machine in the first video when we kind of just did an assessment of it, it had no brakes. And so we've got brakes to go on the front, we've got new cables to go, so mechanically it's going to be ready to go. All right guys, so a wire wheel on a drill and a red Scotch-Brite pad will get you a long way. So here's where we're at. We got our triple trees stripped down, there's nothing on them. I went ahead, we're going to do these on the machine. I just don't see any point necessarily in taking them off. The bars and everything is wrapped up and protected with garbage bags. It's something you can reuse. If you got a drop cloth, that'll work too. Just take your time here. You know, the more time you take before prep, the better it's going to turn out. Is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be restored? No, but it's going to be better. And so that's what you end up with. So let's get some paint. And again, we're going to be using our Rust-Oleum Sunrise Red. That's pretty much the closest color you're going to find out there, unless you have paint mixed up. So I'm going to shake this thoroughly, and then we're going to lay down some paint. Not too shabby, huh? So I got 2 hours probably looking for the tools, finding everything you need, shooting video, tearing it all apart. This is a big step on the front end. We are ready to really start taking each component, cleaning it, painting it if necessary, rebuilding it if necessary. Our foundation is ready to start building back up. We're going to address the leaky forks. We're going to clean the forks up. We're going to hit them with a wire wheel on the bench grinder, and you're going to like that. That aluminum is going to come out really good. We can go over our top plate. We can address our handlebars. But this is where you need to go. This is if you don't want to pull the triple tree off, I completely understand. As you see, I didn't, but you can do this. A couple of trash bags, Scotch-Brite, a red Scotch-Brite, you know. And then one thing I didn't tell you earlier, right before you paint, after you've taped everything up and you handled everything with your mitts, get some acetone or some type of solvent cleaner, and wipe down everything you're going to paint. That takes the oils off your hands and so forth, and gets the material clean, so the paint's going to stick. You've got a mechanical adhesion with the wire wheel and the Scotch-Brite that etches the paint that's on it, that etches the metal so the paint sticks. Then you want to do a chemical cleanse, basically take all that oil and all those fingerprints off, wipe it down right after you tape everything up, because you're bumping into it, you're moving it around. In this situation, the last thing you do before you paint is wipe it down with some alcohol or some acetone, and your paint's going to lay down better. But be sure it dries. Wipe it down, let that dry, don't touch it anymore, and you're good to go. And I have to say that turned out really good. I'm really pleased with the Sunrise Red. I've tried several colors, but that seems to be the one that everybody kind of agrees on. If you're gonna spray paint, Sunrise Red is the way to go. So let's talk about wheels and tires. As you see, we've got our first 27-inch wheel mounted there on the front. It centers. Let's talk about these wheels. This is very important. This is a 12-inch wheel, 12 top to bottom. This is their diameter. This is the cheapest wheel I could find in this size. This is a 12x7 with a 2x5 offset. It's completely different than the 5x2 offset. So don't even look at that. Remember, 2x5 on a 12x7 wheel. This is what you're going to want. It's going to center up on your front end. It's very important that that's right. Otherwise, it's going to look goofy. You may even ride goofy. We don't want that. So 12x7. 2x5 offset. That's what you want for the proper offset for your three-wheelers. Now, these wheels, you can't get too crazy wide because you're limited by the forks. So keep that in mind. And as you see here, you could probably run a little bit wider in front tire. I wouldn't. I like that look. You're not driving. That's not a drive tire. You really don't need a bigger, heavier wheel than necessary on the front. You could probably even get by with like a pizza cutter. You know what I'm saying? Flotation would come into play. A wider wheel is going to give you more air for if you're in the water. Sand, it's a wider footprint. So there are factors to keep in mind, but again, you're limited by the forks. The rear, just to kind of give y'all where we're headed on this, this is a factory wheel, factory size tire with no offset, no spacers. As you see, the wheel is flush with the outer part of the fender, here I'm just mocking things up. In video, you have to do everything twice. As you see now, this wheel is 2 inches further out past the fender, and that is because I have a 2-inch spacer bolted onto this one side as a test fit. So I'm just mocking stuff up, so when I get the camera out and filming it, everything just seems to kind of magically work. No, it's you test and you put it on, and then you take it off and you get the camera, and then you show putting it on, and everybody goes, oh wow, it works perfect. Well, little fitment going on there. But these are the wheels. These are $60 each, landed to me. They included a valve stem. I just mounted this one up here. These tires are directional. That's not always the case. Be sure if you want your tires to go in the proper direction. Most tires that are directional will say rotation with an arrow. So when you're mounting these up or having them mounted up, just tell the guy, hey, be sure these are directional. I want them all going the right direction. And as you see, even our front tire is going the right direction. Why did I choose these wheels? There's a lot of wheels out on the market. I don't like the aluminum wheels that only look good on one side. You know, there's really not an aluminum wheel manufacturer that looks good on both sides. The front of the wheel looks good, the back of the wheel looks like crap. So I figured, hey, why not get a wheel that's the same on either side? And so though the offset's different, because it has to be, and we're going to have the big brake hanging off the other side, it's the same pattern. And so I'm going to go one step further. This is what it's going to look like here. That's the actual front of the wheel. I'm going to paint this hub black. I'm going to pull this apart. We're going to paint it black. I'm going to paint this is just for mock-up. I'm going to paint the brake housing and the other half of the housing. It's in the cleaner right now. And we're going to paint that black so it kind of disappears into the wheel. That's the biggest expense of this. It's not the kit. The kit's very affordable, and I mean almost cheap, really. But the wheels and the tires is where you end up spending your money. And so if you can save in that area, then it just makes the project move that much better. That is my metal door with the wind outside. And so y'all hear that door rattle. That's how much the wind's blowing out there. So that's it. Just I want to get some filming in and out between the storm today and try to keep this project moving. Good morning, guys. So this is day 2 or 3. It won't take you this long if you just did a lift kit. I would say probably 2-3 hours at best, just putting the 2-inch lift on. So don't let what I'm showing you discourage you in any way. It's not difficult. Literally, you've got 2 bolts here on your triple tree. You drop out the lower of the fork. You insert the 2-inch spacer. It goes back in with the original hardware here in the triple tree. Noah includes new hardware for everything he sells that requires. The hardware provided in the kit is how you reattach the factory lower fork. So all of this is factory. All we did was space it out. So these wheels do require a tapered acorn lug nut. So the flat face lug nuts that this machine came with, you will not be able to use for these wheels on the front. Now, I went ahead and purchased rear spacers. There's a link in the description if you want them. They're 2-inch, they're aluminum, they're really nice wheel spacers. I'll show them to you when we get to the back of the machine. Those come with an acorn style lug nut. I can't say enough nice things about this rack. That is a gorgeous rack, and you can't find, if you found a new NOS or even close to new used front rack, you're probably paying double what he can make this for. It looks great. It fits great. It fit right on. You'll see it in the video. It lined right up. Remember, this machine was pretty rough when we brought it in, so it's taken me longer because I've had to redo everything. You more than likely won't have to do that. You'll be able to go straight to put the lift on or straight to put the rack on and you're done. But for me, I couldn't put this awesome rack on a machine that had a nasty cage on it. You know, I've got to take the headlight apart and repaint it, and I couldn't put, you know, the lift kit on triple trees that were all jacked up, so we had to take them down and paint them. And so this is kind of one of them snowballing projects if you're not careful. So set parameters, you know, so you can get it done the way you want it. But in this instance, I wanted to paint the hub. I wanted to paint everything. I wanted to clean everything. So when you saw this machine, you were like, wow, that's really nice. And it really is turning out to be great. Also, that goes along with when we get ready to put this on the market. It's already clean. It's already nice, and it's going to show very well in photos. This is so simple that there's really not a lot of, you know, how-to need to be involved here. It comes with the hardware. It bolts right in place to the factory fork, and you're done. So we're back here on the back. We're fixing to set this down on all three for the first time. We've got our 2-inch lift kit installed the front and the rear. I wanted to talk about lug nuts and wheel spacers and things of that nature. Now, I like an aluminum wheel spacer. They make these in steel, they make these in plastic. I like the aluminum. I just think the aluminum is the best trade-off for weight and strength. These particular ones, and not all of them do this, and it's definitely worth paying attention when you place your order. I'll put a link in the description for these. These come with lug nuts with them. Not all spacers do. But I wanted to show you what a 2-inch offset or 2-inch wheel spacer looks like on these wheels. And let's see what it's going to look like the first time sitting on the ground. All right, guys, 2-inch lift kit, Swamp Outlaws. Wow. That is, that's sharp right there. Now, we've got a lot of work to do. As you can tell, we just really focused on the front. The rear took less than probably 10 minutes to put the rear lift on. It might have been closer to 5. I don't know that a camera was on, but this is a factory size tire. This is a 25 by 12 by 9 to give you an idea. That's how much bigger the wheel is. It's not huge. It's not. I think you could still you could use this as a hunting buggy. You could still use this around the property just as you did before. 2 inches is not going to take any of the drivability away from this. I do believe when you lift anything, wheel spacers is probably the #1 performance, safety product or add-on you can put on a 3-wheeler. 4-wheelers too. The wider your footprint, the more stable you're going to be. I put 2-inch spacers on just about everything I own that I plan on riding because I just feel more stable with a wider footprint. The wider wheels, the wider tires, everything just adds to that. The lift is awesome. We are waiting on a lot of top end parts here. We've got handlebars coming. I'm working on a tank. We're going to reupholster the seat. We're going to do some plastic welding. We're going to recondition this rear rack. This machine is going to be sharp. I think I made the right call on the wheels. I like how they match. It's not one side looks different than this side. You know, the left side doesn't look different than the right side. All the wheels match because they have the same design, or no design for that matter. I think it's going to be a sharp rig. And like I said, 2 inches is not going to take away from the usability of this machine. It's a little bit bigger tire, a little bit bigger footprint, a little more traction. Now these wheels are heavier. It's going to add a little more weight to your machine on the bottom, which is good because that's going to offset the weight of you sitting on top of it. Anytime you can put more weight in the bottom, your center of gravity is lower now. Because the center of mass is lower, the wheels are heavier, they're further apart. Everything about stability, this will take care of that. What a cool setup. I've never lifted one before. This is the first one I've ever lifted. So I'm gonna put the tank on it and the seat just to kind of get a visual and take some pictures, but I think I am very pleased with all of that.